Oh, here we go. We're getting the music again. All right. Well, hold on. Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. This week I have Jared Demling on the show. Here at Let Freedom Ring, we talk all things Americana, US of A. Jared, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on. Big fan of this show. Very entertaining, so it's nice to be a part of it.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's try to get to know you just a little bit better, Jared. Where are you from and where'd you grow up?
I am from Haverhill, so I live in Haverhill now. Been there about
Okay.
10 years with my wife and my son, William. And I have a son, Brandon, who doesn't live with us, but he's here every other weekend or so. I grew up in Methuen, so not too far from Haverhill, right on the border of New Hampshire. Your stomping grounds, right, New Hampshire. So not too far from here. Always in the Merrimack Valley for the most part.
Awesome. Methuen, have you ever been to Whirlaway Sports?
I have often.
I let they when I wrestled when I was a kid and then all through high school, and they had the most wrestling shoes I've ever seen in one place at one time.
Yeah, William actually wrestles, and that's where we go to, and lots of friends. Also, a great place to swing some golf clubs.
Oh, definitely. So Whirlaway Sports, plug that just a little bit here.
Sponsor of the show, right?
Yeah, seriously. What is one thing that everyone should know about you? And you can say multiple things if you'd like.
I have lots of things, but I'll just keep it to one right now. Volunteerism. It means the world to me. Last year, I volunteered over 300 hours. Some of it's coaching, some of it's volunteer income tax assistance, which got shut down this year. Um, Always doing something in the community, whether it's my own community or Salem, New Hampshire, where I work. Um, to me, I also teach my kids about volunteering at an early age and kind of giving back to the community and those less fortunate, something that's near and dear to me. So 300 plus hours last year. I actually won an award at Citizens Bank for a community chairman award for all my volunteerism, which was supposed to go to an event at Gillette Stadium and your name on the lights, but that got postponed as well. So
Yeah, no, well, tough times, but no, definitely appreciate volunteers, and I do notice, I do see the pictures of you coaching baseball, which is awesome. Definitely we need, kids need, especially, well, in baseball, mostly working with males, but you need good male role models, and kids need that. So awesome that you do that. Um, And the next question is, what does it mean to you to be an American?
wow, to be an American, I'm sure a lot of people have said the same things, but I'm so grateful to be an American. Yeah, we're here, land of the free, um, having opportunities afforded to us that people fought for in our, grandfathers, great grandfathers, and that, even beyond that. But it's just to have the liberties that we have, and to be able to do almost anything we want when we want to do it. Obviously, some people are taking more liberties to that right now than they should.
Yes.
Um, but I do love that. I mean, best country to live in. I love everything USA. So really proud to be an American. It's just about living your life and the opportunities for everyone.
Awesome. Good answer. And I agree with that. Both my grandfathers served in World War II. And a lot of things going on right now in the country with, a lot of people saying, well, we should just do a total lockdown. It's always going to be voluntary based. We have a thing called the Constitution, and you can do what you want to do in this country. So it's not exactly easy to lock everybody down.
Right.
All right. Well, that brings us next to current events, and there's really only one thing we're talking about, because I would have loved to have you in the studio tonight. I haven't been able to really have any of my guests in the studio. But the COVID-19 crisis, we're in a pandemic. How are you doing? How has your life changed during this time?
My life's changed quite a bit, as everyone, with different sacrifices that we need to make. I am actually an essential employee. I manage a bank. So we need to be there, and I'm happy that we're there for our customers. And stimulus checks coming out next week, supposedly, we'll be there for non-customers too, because it's a government check. But that changed a lot of how we do business, our hours. keeping ourselves and our customers at safe distance, social distancing, words and phrases that I didn't even know about. Everything's liquid, um, and then coming home, it's really changed our lives, right? Going to wrestling shows, even coaching baseball. Not just a coach, I'm a part of the board of directors, and we don't know if there's going to be a season yet. We're working, we want to, if it's the right time in the right place and everything's ready to go. Obviously, the first priority is the kids,
Yep.
and also parents, but we want to make sure we can do that. That's a huge part of my life. It's really like taking a toll on me. No sports, as I know you're a huge sports fan as well. That's killing me. What's bothering me now is things that we had tickets to and things that we've planned out. I don't want to sound selfish, but we're supposed to go to Florida next week, this Friday. Actually, yeah, next Friday we're supposed to be in Orlando. Not going to that. The month after that, I was supposed to go on an anniversary trip with my wife to Myrtle Beach. I don't think we're going to that. I don't think that's going to happen in May. And then so on and so forth. Like hopefully things like SummerSlam and things of that nature. Hopefully it'll be all right by then. But I just really want to have some normalcy, and I don't really want to go back to normal. I'm just worried about what the new normal is and what are we going to do and what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. When you read all these things and hear all these things, you just wonder what that new normal is going to be. I just want a little bit of it. So that's how it's really changed a lot for myself and my household. I'm the only one that really goes out and tries to get things. We do go out as a family and we go on hikes and stuff like that because I do believe that you have to get out of the house. It's going stir
Yeah.
crazy. We're hiking 3-4 miles on trails, saying hello to people, but keep walking. It really just changed all that. But I'm happy to be able to get out of the house, but also not go to those places any longer and kind of do things differently to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and others.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think one thing that you hit on is, what will be normal? What will we ever be able to really go back to what things were like before this, too? I mean, does SummerSlam happen? I don't know. I don't know about that. I have tickets to it as well. What is going to be the new normal? That's going to be the big question when this whole thing ever really gets sorted out.
Exactly. And I'll do
So,
whatever we need to do, like whatever it takes, whatever it's gonna be, whatever the new normal is gonna be. If it doesn't mean you shake hands anymore, if that's the extreme it goes to,
I can
that's
bow.
that's fine with me. I have lots of ways I can say hello to someone: a head nod, a flip of a bird, whatever. But let's that it will be interesting to see how long and what the new normal is, and I think that's the biggest takeaway. I also one thing I just want to mention is kids. I have to get like hats off to the kids, whether it's my own kids or other kids that are having schools canceled potentially for the whole year. And I really feel bad for the eighth graders and 12th graders, people that would graduate and go to high school or graduate and go to college. I just really want to. I mean, I don't think a lot of people check in on the kids these days, and it's something having kids that's near and dear to me because I ask him daily, ask William, who I see daily, and Brandon, through messaging and different, modes of communication, how are you doing today? Because I do really care about the kids. I want to know, and I don't want them to be forgotten. Yes, we had to change, but imagine being a kid and not really understanding the whole gravity of it. Basically, all they say is, "Oh, this coronavirus sucks," and when is this going to be normal again? I want to do this, Dad. So there's a lot of that going on too, but I think that I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the kids and hopefully that they're being safe and they have some normalcy when this is all said and done. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That is definitely the kids are something to think about, as well as a big thing that I've been thinking about too is you go into the grocery store and you got teenagers really running the show. There was the viral for probably local, of a Market Basket employee saying, I need these kids. I have a Shaw's next to where I live, and I walk in. I used to work in a school, James Master Cole Upper Elementary School here in Merrimack, and I'm going in there and I'm seeing all these kids that I used to work with, and they're the ones on the front lines of this thing running a grocery store. And last time I went in there, and a couple kids that I knew when I worked there, I thanked them for being out there, because they are asking them at a young age to do something that I don't know how I would have felt when being 16, 17 years old at that time. So
absolutely, it's almost like you think a veteran, right? I've always done that. I've retired Army parents, right, and grandparents. As you said, you had your grandfathers who had fought in World War II. So it's always been on my mind. It's not Veterans Day or Memorial Day, which that's another subject that people don't understand the difference. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's now it's like just thanking the frontline people. I'm very thankful when a delivery guy brings me a pizza. I'm tipping hardcore as much as I can, right? Here's an additional $5 on top of that. Whether it go through the window at Dunkin' Donuts, working in a bank. I don't need. It makes my day when you hear a customer like, thank you for being here for us. I don't necessarily need that. I'm not
Yeah.
asking for it myself, but I think it's really just thanking those essential workers who we didn't realize who were so essential a few months ago, but they really are essential. And to your point, those kids that you worked with are now running pretty much grocery stores, and I'm thankful for the tireless hours that they're putting in, working 50, 60 hours a week at some of these stores. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you to everybody that is out there and doing their thing now. And you're out there too. Now, do you have to go to the branch every day, or is there anything you can do from home?
I have email, so I could communicate
Yep.
with my staff from home. In the first week, what they did is they allowed you to take emergency time off if you needed it. So I did that so I
Yep.
could be at home with William to kind of help with the schooling.
Oh
Since
yeah,
then,
that's a big too.
yeah,
Yeah.
since then my wife now works from home. She has her own business with my brother-in-law and father-in-law's business, so they can work from home, and they've repurposed all of their employees to work from home. So that's helpful with that. But going to the bank, I just want to be there for my colleagues. Again, our
Yep.
hours are different. We're open 6 days a week, still the same amount of days, but the hours are a lot different. So I'm going in every single day. Citizens Bank, and I'm not trying to plug them either, but they're really been great for their
Yeah.
uh, for their colleagues. They're giving everyone hazard pay every single day that you go in. You get an additional money. They're buying
Oh wow.
lunches from every Wednesday from small businesses. We're buying
Yep.
lunches to try to support the local business for our colleagues, and then it's just shorter hours. So I give people time off, but as the manager, I'm working 6 days a week. My assistant manager is doing the same thing to make sure that we can give our colleagues some days off. And if you don't want to come in, we're not having you come in. No matter how many hours you work, they're paying you for 40 hours. I'm salary, so it's I've worked I've worked many hours, more than 40 in my lifetime,
I
in
can
my career
imagine.
there. But I'm happy that they're doing things for our colleagues. So as well as providing gloves and hand sanitizer, and kind of locking the doors, appointments only. We'll let only two people in at a time for customers.
Yep.
Drive up use is up, but if I didn't have a great staff that could do it, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I'm thankful to have a job in this time where a lot of people don't. So I'm really thankful to be able to work there and embrace whatever's going on right now, whatever changes we make. And then when it goes back to that, the new normal, then I'll be happy to see my customers again too. Then.
Oh, for sure. Now, I've always had Citizens Bank my whole life, honestly, since I've had a bank account. So we appreciate it still going and everything going well.
Nice.
Um, I guess the next question, and it's tough to really say, sticking to current events. Uh, and this, I'm not trying. I don't want to get with everything kind of going on. Everybody has strong opinions. Overall, how do you feel about how the government has been handling this crisis?
Um, Again, I won't get political on it. I'm an
Yeah.
independent, just to put that out there. So I really just want the right people doing the right things. I think there's lots of mixed messages, and I think it's
Yep.
tough. It's tough to really decipher what's real, what's not real in the world of social media, or
It's
watching
true.
the news, because there's all different agendas. So I kind of don't really watch the news anymore. And I'm not saying I get my news from Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, but I am reading a lot of articles there. I think they're doing the best they can. This is unprecedented times. Last time there was something, it's never been like this, but was it Spanish flu? Was
Yeah, that
back
was
in
19.
1920. Um,
Yeah, or
so
1918 or something like that.
yeah, right
Yeah.
around that time, and it seems it was weird. Almost like every 100 years, there's been something. Look it
Yeah.
up. And again, I don't know how much is true. I believe about half of
Yeah.
what I read, and I don't know how much of that is actually true to try to form my own opinions. But I think they're doing the best they can. I don't know that there needs to be an update like every minute. I have calls at work, and we all have calls of people that are working. in the school sending out communication. It's better to be over communicated than under communicated, I believe. And I kind
Yep.
of just delete that email, or I just ignore that post, or whatever it is. So I think they're doing the best they can. With that being said, obviously it's not a job that I envy for anyone, and I don't really care who was president or who was in charge. I still think that they would have some issues dealing with this and trying to navigate this. So I think you get that fine line between telling people what they can do, and as a federal government, and don't leave your house and curfews, versus that, or as we just talked about earlier, the Constitution and the liberties that are afforded to us. So
Yeah.
I think they're doing a decent job. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but that's just how I see it, and it's unexpected.
Yeah, no, I'm somewhere in the middle with it. I didn't think the response would be perfect. I also, a lot of us didn't take it very serious for a bit. It is what it is. The only thing that I don't, it doesn't all come down to the president. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and bash Donald Trump. All I want from him is when he gets up there, stick on point and just talk about what we need to know. And that's it. And he has a very hard time doing that. But it's not all on him. It's not. So,
Right.
but it's neither here nor there. And I just hope they continue. I think Dr. Fauci has been great. And he's starting to believe that the social distancing is working. So hopefully that continues to see that trend out of him. But you know what? That's all a downer. That's all the time. Maybe we'll touch on it again. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But let's talk about sports. I guess it dominates everything. MLB is talking about moving all of baseball to Arizona in May. I mean, it would be nice to have baseball back.
Oh, heck yeah. I'll take sports back any way we can, as we know with WrestleMania last week. We'll get to that after. But um, I would love to have it back if they could follow the rules, right? I
Yep.
just think that lots of multimillionaire sports entertainment, players, no matter which league you have, I can't see them wanting to follow the rules. So, and I guess with the players associations, they all, let's say it passes, they vote on it and it passes, but you're in the minority and you're like, I don't want to do this. Well, I think you have to have enough people to field teams, right? But you
Yep.
also have to listen, if they're gonna go to the games and then back to the hotels and be quarantined and not actually like getting together. And about team sports, it's not an easy thing to just be isolated from everyone. So
Yep.
I don't really. I would love to have it back. I'd be all for it. The other day I was watching cornhole tournament.
Yeah.
There was. I'll watch
I
anything on
saw that.
TV
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
but it's. I would love to have baseball back. One of the interesting things that my family, and I know a lot of people do that, is my wife and the boys and I. We usually go to a different stadium, and when we go to a stadium, we either go to a game or we do a tour of it. And then one thing we do is we always buy a hat, no matter where
Yep.
we go. So last year I went to the Phillies. There's my Phillies hat. There's
Yeah, I
also
like
this
that
little
hat.
lead
Yep.
freedom ring, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like your logo.
Yeah.
And we also we've been all over. We've been to the Diamondbacks over the past couple of years. We went to the Phillies, went to the Nationals, went to the Reds, and then the other ones. We went to the Mets last year. It was really cool. I have a Mets hat. I never thought I would. Mike Verna likes when I wear it to wrestling events, so
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of cool.
He's a big
But
fan. Yeah.
but that's one of the interesting things that we like to do, and we have a fun time with that. I want some of that normalcy so we can go back to a stadium when it's good to do so. So, but yeah, I'd be all for it. What are your thoughts on having them?
Yeah, if they like you said, if they did it safely, and I know they're working with I don't know, they're working with the government, I believe, in some ways to do that to make sure everything is good. It's a big sacrifice for the players, but they're used to being on the road too. So I don't know. I mean, the NHL is talking about it, the NBA is talking about doing something similar too. I would take it, like I said, if everything is safe. But I'm dying without. I love this time of year for baseball. So, and
Absolutely.
I would love some NBA playoffs right now as well. I know that'd be fast approaching. So, we will see kind of how that plays out. Like you said, though, if it's safe, I'm cool with it. If it's not, it's one of those things. I've said this on the show before. Sports is like something extra for us. We love
Right.
it. We'll live without it. I've been watching all kinds of crazy games on the MLB Network. Um, I got to see the 1992 NLCS again the other day, which I was always a Red Sox fan, but when I was a kid, the Braves were on TV every single night, and we loved the Atlanta Braves. And when they won the '92 ALCS, it was awesome. Sid Bream, Francisco Cabrera. Um, so the MLB Network's at least giving us that.
Speaking of that, what's kind of cool about this is taking the time to reflect and go back, um, and just realize like some of those things. So the other night, I think it was on ESPN. William and I watched. It was another sad time in our lives, right? But he wasn't alive. It was the first game after September 11th was on.
Oh
It was the
yeah.
Mets. It was actually the Mets versus the Braves, and I want
Yep.
to say it was September 21st, 2011, at the old, not at City Field, but
2001.
at Shea,
Yeah.
Shea Stadium, and that's the one that Piazza. He came back. I think they were losing 3-2, and he hit a home run in like the ninth inning. Like I want to say it was a 2-run home run to kind of. It was like the healing home run that needed to heal for, and everyone was Mets and Yankees fans at that time, right after September 11th. And it was just amazing because he's learned in school about September 11th, only being 9 years old, but he didn't, they're posting on there the different things like, oh, to help with September, 911 relief, text this number or do this, or, and everyone was wearing the FDNY or the
Yep.
NYPD and the first responder hats. So it was really cool to like be able to share a piece of history with him that he didn't live through, but he got to see it. And let's be honest, even being a sports enthusiast, I probably never would have gone back and watched that game. So I'll take the silver lining with that. So
Yeah, there's some things that, that is giving us time to go back and look. I mean, baseball has such a history to it. I mean, I think the game on tonight was the Dodgers and Yankees back in I don't know, it was 77. What was the year that Jackson was Mr. October? Was it 77? Yeah, that's because
I
the
think
black,
so.
yeah, the blackouts in New York were that year. Because you ever seen the Bronx is burning? ESPN did
I've actually never watched it.
It's worth a watch. Reggie Jackson is an interesting character altogether. I mean, so is George Steinbrenner.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot going on with that. Now Dana White. Now it looks like UFC, right before this show came on, UFC is postponing everything indefinitely. However, he was talking about getting a private island to do international fights. What did you think of that? I thought that was a little bit crazy.
What could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah,
No, I thought it was crazy too. I didn't know if it was like one of those onion stories. Like, is this real? Again,
yeah,
I don't believe half of what I see, right? And we shouldn't. But it seemed like he's crazy enough. He has the money that he could definitely do it.
yeah,
Uh, it would be entertaining, but I think it's too soon. I
yeah.
don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think you should do that. And now that you said they postponed it, I'm happy to hear that. Yes, would people have watched? Of
Yeah.
course they would have. We'll watch anything right now, as we stated. But no, I don't think it's the time to do that. To get all these athletes from around the world to to go and fight on an island because you have the money to do so. But
Could you imagine being on some deserted island and you got Khabib and McGregor? They wanted to kill each other that night after
uh,
that fight they had.
it's like,
He's fighting his entourage.
yeah, it'd be like Hunger Games mixed with UFC mixed with
Yeah,
Lord of the Flies. Like, so it's like people are gonna die. Like, I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Just a
I'm good.
disaster.
Exactly.
Disaster waiting to happen. I mean, thanks Dana for trying, but yeah, you should suspend all operations right now, and it sucks. It 100% sucks, but a lot of people are having to do it. Um, Tom Brady just did an interview today that came out with Howard Stern. I haven't got to really listen to it. I've heard some things. He talked about why he missed some, preseason stuff because of Giselle. But how do you feel overall about Tom Brady leaving the Patriots?
It actually bothered me. I know others have done it where they didn't end their career with the team they were for the most part. Um, I'd never, I wasn't surprised. Just the way that the
Yeah,
negotiations and things were going, I feel like if they wanted him, they could have. I understand there's different theories. Spend so much money on him and then not surround him with the right talent, but he's always been able to do that. He's always taken less for the team it was the Patriot way that people try to copy. So I'm thankful for the time that he's put in here. I'll always support him. I don't know if I'm going to buy a Tampa Bay Brady jersey, but I will support him. I will root for the Buccaneers. I'll root for him to actually win the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay this year. I think that's a pretty neat story. Kind of puts the Belichick versus Brady, who made who type of thing. I think it's a
That's true.
combination of both. There's some teams where it was Belichick doing it, in some years, and there were some years where it was Brady. So I'm not excited that he left. I'm happy he's not in the AFC. And I wish him nothing but the best down there. I hope he goes and proves he's the GOAT regardless. So
Yep.
winning another ring doesn't really matter. But I think that wants he wants to cement his legacy, and TB12 and TB, it's really fitting. I think it's great. I'll definitely draft him in fantasy or some of those receivers with him down there, because I think he's only going to make them better. And hopefully there is a season. I'm guessing there will be, but who knows? I think it will definitely be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it at all, but same time, I tried to order a Tom Brady Tampa. I love football jerseys, so I have a ton of jerseys. So I was going to order it, but it wasn't going to come till July. And with everything going on, I'm sure things are delayed and things like that. And I just said, if it's not going to come till July, I don't even know if I'm going to want this by July. So I decided not to do it. Maybe eventually I'll have it. Just because, Brett Favre was one of my favorite players, because I like players, obviously, outside New England. I have a Brett Favre's Packers jersey. I have a Vikings jersey of his. I don't have a Jets one. I would never buy that. There's certain teams I'll never buy their jersey.
I'm with you.
And the Jets are one of them. All right, let's go into pop culture now. Here's the hot topic. Everybody's been talking. I've been talking about it a lot. Love spending time on it because it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What did you think of the Tiger King?
All right, you probably may know some of my answers to this,
I did see that.
For those that haven't seen it, the Tiger King was definitely overblown. First and foremost, it's one of those things, almost like the car accident that you need to watch. I think it could have been 3 episodes long, or just a long, like a 90-minute documentary, mockumentary, whatever you want to call it, right? But it was definitely worthwhile to watch. And when I did put my rating out, I think people didn't understand my rating because I put stars. I would rate it like a 3.5, a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
I think they're definitely all sorts of messed up. I didn't believe it was real life. There are people out there.
I didn't either.
It's crazy, but like just to have a camera every single day out there, that's the funny thing with it. But I think that because they were always trying to make that show or shoot that show or the next internet show that he was doing, so I can see why they would have the cameras, but it just seemed too far-fetched for me. It was definitely entertaining at times, but I'm talking like episodes, like if there were 7 episodes, it was episodes like 5, 6, 7 is all I really cared for. The rest wasn't that great, so I wasn't a huge fan of it. There's plenty of shows out there that are much better watches than that, but it's one of those things that, hey, we're trapped inside, we're going to watch Netflix, we're going to watch streaming. You kind of have to watch it to say you did it type of thing.
No, I agree. I mean, I've now watched it twice because I'm like addicted to it. But there was a YouTube channel, and it's all legit. Because when I first watched it, I go, that can't be real. And then I go back and I watch, and I go, oh my God, this guy was so crazy. He was recording everything that he was doing. Yeah, he had all this other illegal activity going on, and Joe. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Exotic is a villain too. I mean, he is. He's a con artist, and he wasn't really good to those animals at the end of the day.
Nope.
So he at the end of the day, he's a scumbag.
Right.
I think they all were scumbags.
That's what I was going to say. All 4 of them were pieces of crap, right?
Yeah.
Like you see, this one owns I don't even remember all the names, Jeff or whatever that guy.
Yeah, Jeff came in, took him out. What's his Dom? Was it Dom? No, I can't remember now.
I don't remember. I just you see
the hippie guy.
Yeah, you watch them throw it and you're like, oh, cool, another one, and maybe this. But and I know the one that we're leaving out right now. But Carole Baskin, even forget like right from the beginning. I'm like, what are you doing that's different than him? You're doing the same thing. You're just calling it a sanctuary and saving them, and you're a shit crazy too. And yes, she did kill her husband. She did.
Yeah, that was my next question. I mean, and here's the thing: their Big Cat Rescue put out a statement saying, well, it wasn't fair that these people have been trashing Carole for forever. Listen, don't blame the directors. They interviewed the people involved. They didn't put a spin to it. They just
Right.
asked them questions. And at the end of the day, if I ever disappeared, all right, now I'm not married or anything like that, but let's say I was, and I'd want people to interview my wife, my friends. If I had a lawyer, I'd want them to know them. I'd want them to interview the people that were in my life. That's the only way you get to the truth. The way that Howard Baskins was describing is like we should have only heard Carole's side of the story.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not. You're innocent until proven guilty, but there was a lot for her to gain,
I will
an
tell you.
absurd amount to gain.
Of course. I'll tell you what I liked about it was some of the crazy music videos that Joe Exotic made. The memes, however you pronounce that
Yeah,
came out of it. Those are hilarious. And some of the videos where it's feeding, like pretending to be Carole Baskin and feeding her
yeah,
husband to the tiger. Like you share a lot of them, and I'm thankful
yeah.
for that. Those are the good things that came out of it. Um,
And he never sang those songs. That's not him. Of
oh
course
really?
not. No, it's not.
That's
He was lip syncing. He paid someone to sing those songs.
that's hilarious.
You know. So, oh my God, it is a crazy story. And at the end of the day, they were, the Baskins were complaining because they were like, oh, we thought it was gonna be about Blackfish, like not about Blackfish, but similar to it, raising
Right.
awareness. At the end of the day, it did. I had no idea that people were owning tigers like that or breeding tigers like that. So it did bring awareness. She murdered her husband. They don't like that. That's what's coming out. It is what it is. Um, have you seen any of the episodes of the Dark Side of Wrestling on Vice at all?
I actually have only watched the first episode, and I actually
Which
just
one was
watched it.
that?
That was the one match made in heaven with it was Macho Man, Elizabeth.
Oh, that's the only
Um,
one I haven't seen. Oh
it's
man,
funny. Uh,
I lived through that. I watched that. That was like when I first got into wrestling.
yeah, it was definitely. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and then I
Yep.
was like, you know what? Let me check that out. But I also didn't know if it. I didn't know if I wanted William to watch it, so I
Yep.
actually watched it on my phone. Actually, earlier today when I got home from work, I was like, let me check this out. Enough people are asking about it. Let me check it out. And I've seen a lot of in some of the groups that were in some of the wrestling groups. I've seen a lot of people post things about it. I just kind of want to watch it on my own. I didn't think it was that bad. Obviously, there are lots of bad things in wrestling.
Yep.
Dark side of anything, no matter what sports, there's something. There's a story to be told. But it was definitely interesting. I like how they did it. I like the seeing the different people talking. You have to catch that one. That one was definitely a
Yeah.
really good one.
I might watch that tonight.
Like you said, you've lived through it. I did too. I'm a little bit older than you. I started with WrestleMania 1 and I was alive. I remember watching it, not live, but we actually went to it's like a stadium, a simulcast. And we went somewhere, and I remember
Oh
going there, and
wow.
you're buying like popcorn and soda, and you're watching it on like a big screen. I can't remember which venue, but I definitely went and watched WrestleMania 1 like simulcast while it was going on, and all through
That's
there. And
awesome.
I've tried to take time to watch them all. I got out of wrestling for a while.
Yep.
Um, At like high school into college a little bit, and went to like one or two shows with other friends that liked wrestling, but really didn't. That was probably 90, 98 to the 2000, 2002. And then I was just like every now and then I would catch some of the major events, and then really got back into it maybe like 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago with my oldest son. Got into it himself. He's 15. And then William has been into it ever since then. So much so that we didn't even get into indie wrestling until the end of 2018. Um, we've seen since then we've been to 57 wrestling shows,
Oh wow.
um, and and most of the time we sit front row because he hates if someone sits in front of him and he can't see.
Yep.
So he's a little spoiled. Both my boys when we go to shows, we're
Yeah.
not sitting front row at all WWE shows. But to be honest, I love indie shows more than I like WWE shows. Just the ability to meet the wrestlers, to um, be that close, to buy the actual merchandise from them, and it's
Yep.
going in their pocket, and it's not going to WWE or AEW or anything like that. So, but yeah, that's how we got started back into wrestling, and I'm thankful for it because I don't feel like a creepy old man going to a show by myself, and I have my kids, and I get to kind of live through it again with them and explain some of the things, history of wrestling, so to speak.
No, that's awesome. I specifically wore a indie wrestling shirt today, Main State
Yeah.
Posse. I started going to those in like 2013. I stumbled upon something on Twitter. Went to an MWF show they used to run in uh,
Melrose.
Melrose. Yeah, yeah. I went to one of those. And then I found Chaotic and I started going. And they've been a lot of fun and continue to keep going. But yeah, wrestling's a lot of fun. I think at one point, I think I stopped watching for a little bit in like 2003 because I said I just when it switched to WWE, I was like, "What? You can't do that." And then I think when Guerrero won the title, I started watching again, and I haven't stopped since probably that time, '04 maybe. But yeah, no, I love indie shows. They're a good time. Hopefully they can come back at some point. We'll have to see how this all plays. They'll come back. Don't get me wrong. It's
Right.
just a matter of when. Sticking on the wrestling topic though, WrestleMania 36. What did you think? I really enjoyed it.
I liked it too. It was a good product. Um, I really enjoyed having something. I know they put their hearts and soul into it. If you read a lot of what people said or the video, like Kevin Owens' video afterwards. Um,
Alistair Black had a good post too, if you could see
yep,
that.
yep, I saw that one. So I really appreciate what they did during this time. Obviously, I wish the one thing that I wish was better, and like people complain about not having a crowd. Obviously, fans make wrestling. I understand that,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
we can't do that in these times. I think I
Yeah.
did post somewhere. I feel like they have to have the technology. They could have green screened the whole, and people would have complained about this too. Don't get me wrong, but you could have green screened all of the seats, and you could have had like superimposed fans. I don't know how corny or stupid it would have looked, you know. But people like the Colts and other people pipe in music and crowd noise, right? So why couldn't you have a little bit of that? Or I wish there was. Again, you have to have only so many people. We were counting. We're like, oh, maybe there's 3 cameramen and there's the 2 announcers and there's the 2 wrestlers. Maybe they're doing their thing too. They don't want to have more than 10 people in the
Yeah.
performance center while they're taping. But it would have been cool if there was just a little bit more noise with there. But I didn't really care. I don't need a crowd to watch a good wrestling match. And I think for the most part, I like that they split it up into 2 days. I'm not a fan of having 2 days going forward because I think that would be nearly impossible. I know they do NXT like takeovers and then they do, the main event the next day, the whatever pay-per-view will be. But I'm not really. It works this way when you're gonna tape it in parts. But
Yeah.
I don't really like want to have it that way. It was nice because it wasn't late. It wasn't 7 hours long, right, in one sitting. And I think all in all, most of the matches were really good. There was one that I didn't care for. I'm trying to even remember which one it was now, but most of them were good. I would rate it like a B plus, A minus, honestly.
Yeah. I agree. I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, the women's tag match wasn't great, but whatever. Like that was one specific one. There were some things I didn't care for, but I still watched it and just enjoyed that could have some normalcy and enjoy WrestleMania, crowd or no crowd. And I really did appreciate that they thought outside the box too, like the Boneyard match with AJ and Undertaker. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, oh, it looks like kind of like a horror movie. And then obviously the Firefly Funhouse match, which I hope they do more of those because that was like a retrospective John Cena's career and Bray
Yep.
Wyatt's, and it was really unique and it was really cool. Like I
They
don't know if you can
definitely
complain about that.
they definitely were cool. When I had to choose between the Boneyard and Firefly, which you don't have to, but if you did, I liked the Boneyard match better, and I got so much heat for it on one of the groups. They're like,
Yeah,
you're wrong. And I'm like, how can you be wrong with someone's opinion? I know people just want to hate and want to go back and forth.
it's you
It's
can't be wrong about wrestling. It's so subjective. You
that
can't be wrong about it.
I did say I will go back and watch the Firefly Funhouse. I think the most difficult part is again I'm watching it with William, and
Yeah.
he wasn't alive for half of those things, so he wanted more of more moves, like more of a match. And I get
Yep.
what they were doing, but he was asking me a million questions while we were watching it, not in a bad way. Just like baseball, anything that we're watching, I want to like go through it with him and explain it. Excuse me, and just answer his questions. That's how you learn, and that's how like you bond and spend time together. But I feel like I miss some of it. Like I see the retrospective, and I see different things, and I'm like, wow, that is kind of cool. Oh, I love that. I loved when this guy did this. But I kind of really just need to go through and watch it again. In fairness, but I
Yeah.
like the Boneyard better. It's funny because my wife is not into wrestling, but she tolerates wrestling because of the boys, and she is like, "Oh, is this another Lake of Reincarnation or whatever?" And it's funny because they've had things like this, but both of the productions were so much better. They definitely stepped it up this year to do those. Um, I read something. The Boneyard was like 6 hours, and
Oh yeah.
they told them like there was no script, just do what you got to do, say what you want to say, and like it was really interesting to hear Taker talk that much because he never it's rest in peace, and that's it,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't really hear him speak often, no matter which Undertaker he was. And I just thought that was definitely creative. It was definitely entertaining. Like then that's why I choose that one over the Firefly Funhouse.
He was definitely back to the American Badass Undertaker of the 2000s, the early 2000s. Yeah, I thought they played off each other really well in that. I thought it was entertaining. And the thing with the Cena match, yeah, there is a lot to explain if you don't know John Cena's career, if you've missed parts of it. Talk about his debut. They talked about, when he came out in the NWO, they're talking about how he's always been afraid to go heel. Because I don't think it's just been creative that John Cena's not gone heel. I think there's partly John Cena didn't want to do
Oh,
that
no doubt,
too.
no doubt.
Um, they talked about it, when he's lifting the weights, he had a failed bodybuilding career. His bodybuilding, that's what he went to California for. He didn't go out to be originally a wrestler. Um, yeah, the whole thing's good. I really enjoyed it. WrestleMania 36 will go down as something very unique. Do you think fans complain too much? Because I've heard a lot of complaining. And in a time like this, it's just like, guys, you have something,
Absolutely.
you know?
100% fans complain too much. And again, I'm not going to attack anyone for their opinions, but people
No, no.
complain. I feel that the average watcher of WrestleMania, so if we're talking about complaining for WrestleMania, they definitely did.
Yeah.
And here's why. They're the casual fans that, hey, it was something to watch. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to see it. You know what? You did. If you haven't watched them build up to this, we were lucky to go to one of the last Raws. No, it was a SmackDown in Boston on the 28th of February. We went to that. We went there when the Fiend came out and pointed to the sign, and John Cena was returned, and he was there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That
we
was
were
good.
happy to be there. It was definitely we were happy to be there. It's something that we enjoy, as we've talked about. But to see them, like, yes, some of the Raws and some of the SmackDowns during this time have been entertaining, and some of the matches have been boring. And I'm not complaining, but it is what it is. It's tough. I imagine being a writer and imagine being them. Yes, they practice all the time in the performance center and wherever else. They practice what they're going to do here and in this move, and then we're going to do that, and then they kind of get to the point, just like New England Pro Wrestling. They're practicing all the time, you know. And I nothing but respect for them. Obviously, they take bumps and they're putting their lives and bodies on the line, right?
Oh yeah.
Each and every time. So to sit there and say this was terrible, I can't believe. Well, I don't know what expectations you have. You have to temper your expectations and just know this is something that's never been done before. Again, we're in these times, and for me to pick up a pizza, I have to stand outside and you bring it out to
Yeah,
me, and it's
exactly.
contactless. Well, to do wrestling and to do WrestleMania, I don't think they should have canceled it. I think that there's definitely good that came out of it. People are talking about it. Um, all I'm saying is I just hope that let's get back to normal. I want to get back to some wrestling shows, but no,
Yeah.
I think people do. To answer the question, they do complain way too much. Just sit back and watch it and be entertained.
Well, in this specific one, too, you're talking about WrestleMania in a performance center, no crowd. They don't have they didn't really have a choice. They're trying to present something to give people an escape from what's going on. That's one. Two, it was on a voluntary basis. Roman Reigns wasn't there. He wasn't going to risk himself and he shouldn't have. So, the second thing, you're on a voluntary basis. These guys are doing this to entertain. Third, they're not getting and I don't know this for a fact, so I might be talking out of line here. They're not getting paid the same amount that they would have been if they packed the stadium in Tampa Bay. They're not drawing in the same amount of money.
Right.
So for you to complain, sure, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's just like these guys did something very unique that they didn't have to do. And
Right.
any one of those wrestlers could have walked away at any time and said, I'm not doing it.
I have a
So
friend. I have a friend that texted me. He's like, "Why is there no Miz? Why is Miz not in this match?" I'm like, "Well, if you paid attention, you knew ahead of time that he wasn't going to be in there." I don't know the exact reason, but I just
I
knew that he
heard
wasn't.
sick, but I don't know that for a fact.
I
Yeah.
mean, he has a wife and he has two kids. I
Two
think they have
kids,
two,
two
right?
little ones, two
Yeah.
little ones. Yeah.
So I can respect him that, and I know you kept saying it. I think I saw your comments. All we need is one wrestler to get it, and then this is done. And that would be
Yeah.
true because now the contamination of everyone. What good are you, even though they're world class athletes? What good are you if you're sick or if you kind of contaminate everyone, or if God forbid someone passes away from this? Um, you're no good. So to your point, Roman, yeah, I'd love to see him wrestle, but not in this setting. Um, he's come back from leukemia multiple times. There's definitely no way he should be anywhere close to that. Other ones, to each their own. I thought it was entertaining. I was happy to have it, and fans should just shut up and watch.
Yeah. At this point, be lucky that you have something. So, no, that's good stuff. I liked it, and take it for what it's worth. That's all you really can do. Any shows that you'd recommend, or anything that you'd recommend people watching during this time?
Absolutely. I am a big advocate of Money Heist. I don't know if
Okay.
you've seen Money Heist at all.
I'm not familiar. No.
Okay, so you'll have to let me know after, but you
Yeah.
definitely have to watch it. If you're in the middle of something, finish what you're watching. You have to devote your time to it. I don't know how late you stay up. I know you still work every day, albeit from home. You're still
Yeah.
working. This show, one of my friends had put it on Facebook to watch. I put it on. My wife and I can get sucked into anything, but that doesn't take away of how great this is. It's I work in a bank, as we know we've alluded to, but it's a heist. It's like The Town, things like that, where you plan out something that's going to happen. The one caveat that you have to get by is it was made in like Spain, right? So it's all in
Okay.
Spanish. Now they dub it in English, but the voices don't match up to what they're saying. So when you look,
Yeah.
the mouth's moving and it's not the same words. They did their best job, but that's the one thing I hear people complain about it. But once you put it on, like this is binge worthy. I want to tell you, we started this maybe 2 weeks ago, and season 4 came out last Friday, and we've already watched all of season 4. And I want to say it's 10 episodes. We watched it in like 2 days. When William goes to bed, we put it on because it's definitely not a show for young kids, right?
Yeah.
There's swearing and guns and injuries and sexual situations, but it's amazing. And then what we just found out last night, someone told me, is they actually have one after you watch season 4. There's another one that's it's a documentary about the why it's so good. I can't think of the word right now, but it's the phenomenon of this. And you kind of watch them, and one of them, they're like at the beginning when they taped it, you and I could have taped it on our street, and like no one was around because they didn't care. But then once they got so big, it's like the second most watched show like in a lot of these countries around the world. I don't know where it is with the United States right now. Right now, it's probably getting better and better with everyone kind of like stay at home. But yeah, they talk about it. And then there's times where they'd do a shoot for the season 2, and they'd be bum rushed and mobbed by people, and they couldn't do it. And they're like, we just went from this people on Instagram or Twitter. Like I went from like 200 followers to like 500,000, things like
Oh,
that.
damn.
So it's definitely you have to watch it, or anyone that hasn't seen it. If you haven't seen it and you watch it and you tell me it's terrible, again, that's your opinion. I will question you.
Yeah.
But everyone can have their opinion. But I, it's a million times better than Tiger. It's different, but it's a
Where do
million
you
times
find
better.
this? Where do you find it?
Netflix. It's on
It's on
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay.
Yep, Netflix Money
All right.
Heist. Give it a shot. It's an underdog story, and you sit. It's funny what they do to you. You come emotionally attached with people in it. It's really unique, and oh, I can't say enough about it.
All right, I'll have to check it out. Is there anything else that you'd recommend binging on?
I'm just on Ozark. We're on Ozark right
Oh,
now watching the.
that's one everybody's been telling me too. Is it that
Uh,
good?
Ozark is really, really, really good.
Okay.
Um, but I would, if you haven't seen either, and you said, "Hey, you're not in the middle of something right now," I would put on Money Heist, and then I would watch Ozark. And you have time, right? There's nothing but time on our hands.
Well,
So
and you know what the thing is? What I've been doing because I'm diehard Sopranos. I just even if we weren't in a pandemic, I pretty much still watch Sopranos almost every night. I'll put on an episode, just rewatch them all again, or pick one that I love. So I do need to pick a show and get out of my comfort zone again.
Money
It's been a
Heist,
while. All
do
right,
it.
I'll take a look. Brings us into some politics. We'll talk about this a little bit because there was some news. Bernie Sanders has suspended his campaign. Were you really surprised by this? Bernie started off hot, and then it just kind of fizzled as he went state to state.
Yeah, it's not very surprising to me at all. I think that um, there's enough people that support him in different places, right? Obviously, you get the backing from a lot of people, and he definitely has a creative or a different way of looking at things and how he wants to do things. Not against it. I think some of what he wants to do is really cool. But I think some of the stuff is really far fetched. So it doesn't really surprise me that he would get to this level. I think people have been saying for a while that it was probably going to be, Trump versus Biden type of thing. So it's not really surprising to me. Um, I like when there's more people in the race and fighting for something, and it's not just a foregone conclusion. But it's not really that surprising to me that he's going to bow out. So.
It's tough. The top three people are all in their 70s, far into their 70s. So it's kind of like, is that, and I'm not discrediting anybody. I supported Bernie in the two primaries, but like I didn't like everything that he. So
Right.
I just thought he was the most consistent of any candidate that was running through his lifetime, which is a long life that he's had.
Yes, that's true.
um, but I want more youth in
Yes.
especially at our presidency. I think Obama was younger than this. Bush was younger than this. Why are we gravitating to people in their 70s where not for anything, not this is not age discrimination, but these are people running the country making decisions that are going to affect us down the road more than it's really going to affect them.
Right.
That's
I agree
something
with
I
you.
sort of struggle with.
I
So
100% agree with you. I wish there were, when there were more candidates. I'm not saying that these are the people, but when you see like, now I can't even remember all the candidates, but there were a lot of youthful candidates. I don't think they have the deep pockets, and that's why,
yeah,
if you have the money, if you're a billionaire, multimillionaire, you have the money, you can stay in it as long as you can, right, and get the backers, and it's crazy. I wish there were. What, was it Yang? Was it Andrew Yang? Is that
Yang, I like Yang. I think
uh,
I think he's got
math?
a future.
Yep, no,
Yeah.
definitely. And then I'll probably pronounce all their names wrong. Budovic, is that he?
Buttigieg, he got ripped apart because he took some Wall Street money, and
Yep.
people really didn't
And
like that.
I'm not saying I agree with that, but those are youthful people that you just need to
Yeah,
find more youthful people that will do that. And I know there's gonna be some. I mean, think about it. If it's either Biden or Trump, whoever it is, pick your poison, as you said, and not to be age discrimination, but they're 72, 73. They go the 4 years. You're talking about 77, 76 ish, and then what? Right? Is it their vice
yeah,
presidents that are running, and or people like that, their running mates are the ones that are gonna take over? So who the heck
yeah,
knows?
yeah. No. It is that is just something that stuck with me. I'm like, everybody, and like I said, I liked Bernie Sanders, but like you said, I didn't agree with everything. But at the same time, like part of me goes, we need to have people, at least in their 40s or 50s. I think in that realm for presidency. But that's my take. Um, do you think like now I've stopped kind of watching them a little bit, but do you think like Trump's daily conferences that he's doing during the pandemic, have you felt any sense of propaganda that he's kind of I've started to feel like they become that way where I go, I can't watch this. Like,
I
just give me the facts, Trump. That's all you have to do.
Yep. Well, you know that's not what he is. So I
Yeah.
think everything he does is propaganda for the most part. Again, love him or hate him, whatever the situation is, he's our president. Whoever's president's my president. I'm not gonna. It's funny you see those stimulus money. Oh, that's my president, right? I'm not your president if you don't want my money.
It's that he
Whatever.
ain't writing the checks. You paid
Right.
into that. You paid into
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I find crazy. I don't. I do think they are. I don't watch any of them. There's nothing
yeah.
important to me. Like I'm not saying that CDC warnings and as they
Yeah.
update things aren't important, but guess what? I don't have time for that. I don't watch the news really anymore. We're watching our shows. We're watching movies. I'm watching history, whether it's wrestling or whether it's baseball and sports. So I don't really watch it. I haven't even watched any of these press conferences or anything. Every time it's on and it pops up on Facebook Live or if it's on like the news, I'm not watching it. I don't even know what's happening like down the street anymore because they don't even talk about that. I look for weather so I can know if I'm going to go out and hike, but
Yeah.
I pretty much that's going to be wrong. So I just look outside at the beginning of the day. We're in New England, so you bring snow boots, you bring an umbrella, you bring a bathing suit, right, and then you might be able to use all three in one day. But no,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't really watch it. I do think it's a lot of propaganda. I don't really watch it. I don't care to watch it. There's nothing, no news is good news right now. So there's no point to watch anything.
No, and I agree with you. And I think as fun as Facebook is, like for sharing pictures of the stuff you're doing or sports and stuff, when it comes to politics, it's a cesspool of crap.
Yep.
And I think you do a really good job of staying out of that, which that's a good thing. That's a good way to be. You know.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
talk about politics, religion. Those are two things that I don't really talk about. Politics or religion. I don't really. You do you, and whatever you're
yeah.
doing, I'm happy with, and I'm not gonna jump in on that. So.
No, I think that's good. Random because it got asked in Trump's presser yesterday, which I can't believe this got through. I don't know what this guy got paid from Netflix. Should Trump pardon Joe Exotic?
No.
I don't think so either.
I mean, he probably
Joe,
will. He probably will
yeah,
because guess what? That's now a story, right?
yeah, yeah,
So no, I don't believe that he should. The guy's a sleazebag, as you said it. People, oh, Joe Exotic for president. No, thank you. So he ran for what, governor and whatever else he ran
governor
for.
and president, yeah, but
It,
the president one he didn't really get off the ground.
and he thought that he had a chance. That was the sad part. I don't know if he truly. I think he did, but I don't know if he truly believed that he had a shot for governor. And
I
I
mean,
think
he got like 19% or something in the state of Oklahoma. What?
but but I think he really believed that he had a shot. And I'm not going to say that, you hear people when it comes to voting and they're like, oh, my vote doesn't matter. I disagree. Ever since
I
I've been
disagree too.
18, I wanted to vote. I voted in every election, whether it's a presidential election or, I voted for schools to be built in Haverhill. I vote for whatever I think it's important thing. The only time I was in politics was in school and college. Um, I was actually president of the student government, and I
Oh,
just really
nice.
want to make a difference with the students and kind of listen. So I can appreciate politics to a certain degree, but not to use it for your own, not to use it to pardon Joe Exotic. That's nuts.
I hope not. All right, that brings me to my favorite segment of the show. It's blank versus blank. I'm
All
going to give
right.
you two words. Could be a person, two people, just two things. You have to choose one and tell why. The first one, baseball or football?
Oh, see, and I've watched these, but there's different reasons for different. Am I playing? Am I watching? Is that's what it is. So or
Overall,
coaching. Uh,
you only get one. If you had to, the other one's gone. It's vanished.
oh God, that's tough. Well, I guess it would have to be baseball. Um, I don't want it. I don't necessarily want football vanished, but
Yeah.
baseball means more to me because of coaching. Because the kids, the volunteerism, being there for my son, spending that time together. And I know that's kind of crazy because it's only going to go on for how long, right? I,
Yeah.
I'm one of the parents that know that my kid's probably not making it to major league.
Yeah.
As good as he is, as hard as he tries, that's not my expectations. I'm not one of those parents. I can see areas of opportunity. I just really enjoy being there and coaching kids. So that's why I have to pick baseball. I do also love going to the ballparks. We need to get some more hats,
Yeah.
and watching that. So I'd have to pick baseball.
All right. And these are only hypotheticals. You never have
I
to choose.
know, as
you
much as
know.
it pains me.
Movies or TV?
uh, movies, movies.
Okay.
I'll choose
Yeah.
movies. Um, there's so many of them. I mean, TV is great, but that's something we're doing right now too. Is we're going back through some classic movies and just every night we have movies. Tonight's my night to pick. I don't know what I'm picking yet, but tonight's my night to pick. We did a movie draft for like one of the first weekends because I love fantasy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we drafted movies, and that's really funny. We had that, and I even let the people at Facebook, friends of mine, pick what movie we would watch when it was my pick. We had a snake draft, but there's so many movies that I feel like you can keep going on, and there's so many great movies that you can watch over and over again. So I'd have to choose movies.
Now, are you guys getting these out of movies that you own, say DVD collection, or are you finding these on Netflix or wherever you're kind of
So
getting them?
we don't have cable, but we have. We might as well. But at the end of the day, it probably adds up to the same. We have
Yeah.
Hulu, we have Disney Plus, we have Prime, Amazon Prime Video, and we have
Okay.
obviously WWE Network. We have lots of streaming. And then Apple TV. So sometimes we're paying for them, $3.99 to rent them. I do have DVDs. We actually haven't done that. I probably should. I have. It's funny. I'm sitting up here in our finished attic, and I have a whole case of DVDs that we probably paid for $3.99 to watch some of these just because we were lazy, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's where we'll do Netflix. We'll do any place, Hulu, anywhere we can find the movie. We'll do that. That's what we're doing, and it's fun because again, it's old school movies. The rule is it's not a movie we've seen in 30 days. So we'll kind of try
Okay.
to introduce some more movies. I've done things like obscure things. Like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Batteries Not Included. It's
The mo-
the
it's
movie
a
is called Batteries Not Included.
Yeah, I never
It,
seen it.
it's crazy, but I remember it as a child. It somehow popped in my head the other day. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh
Um,
God, yes.
Remember the Titans.
Yep, love that.
Some newer Disney movies we've seen and watched. There's a whole list of movies that we've watched. Maybe at the end, not that I don't overflood Facebook enough, but I'll probably put in like our top 10 of each of us. And when I have my son Brandon here as well, we also we redrafted so he could go and he could pick some things. Just watching lots of those things. Natural Treasure, 1 and 2. We watched those. Tomb Raider, like lots of different things, and it's something that we look for each day. Whose movie is it tonight? Whose movie is it tonight? Tonight's Dad's, and I don't know. I may pick. I don't really know. You tell me a movie. It has to be PG-13 as well, because I don't
PG
really want.
13.
Yeah, it's tough, but
I would put out what have I watched lately? Oh, what about Bulletproof with Adam Sandler? Was that and
that's
Damon Wayans? Is that R?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up after this, but that's one of my favorite movies. We watch a lot of those too. We watch some Black Sheep.
Yo,
Uh,
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy's that's
Yeah.
Williams' next pick is Tommy Boy. He already told me. What I'll do too is I'll go in there and I'll do some previews,
Yeah.
kind of before we buy him, and then he'll laugh a bunch. He's like, I want this. So you have to determine: do we want to laugh tonight? Do we want
Yeah.
adventure? Do we want action? What is it? But Bulletproof is definitely a good one. My
Yeah.
favorite scene ever is I know it's terrible, but at the beginning when he gets pulled over, officer, and then he's like, didn't he land? That's
That's when
awesome.
Sandler was in his best days.
Oh hell yeah,
If you had to pick coaching or playing,
coaching.
coaching.
Uh, that's easy. I was never. I could be a good coach. I was never really a great player. Um, I've played baseball, I've played basketball, and I've played football, but I was never really that great at it. A lot of my friends were the best of the best. I went to Central Catholic High School, so they were really, really good. You're not making that team, especially not me with my talents. But I was the team manager. I got to be with all my friends. Got to learn so much about baseball, about different, and I'm a numbers guy, stats, things like that, trying to figure things out. I love coaching. I love all aspects of it, teaching different things. I surround myself with people that are better at more athletic or better at sports than I am.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the brains because that's not necessarily true, but I'm the
Yeah.
numbers guy. I'm the guy that writes the email after each game. I'm the one, we come up with the lineups, the batting order, and well, can't have good, terrible, terrible. You know, and not that
Yeah,
kids are
yeah.
terrible, but you know, there's automatic outs or there's someone that strikes out a lot. Well, you're probably not going to put them in fourth, right? They're not going to be the cleanup hitter when they strike out more often than not. And oftentimes that could be my son. It could be any of the kids I coach that goes through slumps. We all do it, right? But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I definitely would say coaching. I love playing games, you know, playing sports, but I'm not that good at it. So it'd be easy to just. And coaching's not an easy thing either.
No, no, I coached wrestling for 7 or 8 years, and then when I got a new job, I just didn't have the time for it anymore. But yeah, coaching is very rewarding. Um, all right, here's a tough one. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take it to independent wrestling a little bit. Christian Casanova or Anthony Green, the retrosexual.
Christian Casanova. I,
Yeah,
I they're both amazing, but
I love them both. Yeah,
and for different reasons too. Very entertaining, very great wrestlers, very promising careers. But Christian Casanova, I honestly believe, and I've heard others critique him as well. He is he's one of the he's going places, and I think he obviously I'm down with the culture. So
yeah,
for FTC all day, and I just it's amazing like what he puts into it, what he brings. He's great in all aspects. I've seen him not just at Chaotic, so I've seen him in different promotions, and we love Christian Casanova. And he's a great guy too. Again,
yeah,
no disrespect to eliminate Anthony Green, but I got to
yeah.
go with Christian Casanova.
They're both great guys. They really are, and they're both great wrestlers. I think Casanova is he's an athletic. What an athletic dude! Really, he really is. I think they both have a big future in professional wrestling. AEW or WWE?
WWE,
Yeah.
uh, and I'm not one of those people that will bash AEW. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't really have a lot of time for that. Yeah, we have time on our hands. We've talked about, but I do think they have a good product. But I just don't get into any when there's conversations about it. I don't get into it because to each their own. Um, I, I don't watch AEW. Like I haven't watched it in probably 2 months. I don't even
Yep.
actually know what's going on. I'm not buying their pay per views for whatever it is, $50 or $60. I know they're not doing as many as WWE. To that point, if WWE starts charging through ESPN or whatever $60 for a pay per view, I won't be buying their pay per view. I'll buy maybe four a year, the big
Yep.
four, which were the only ones that were around when I first started watching and grew up. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. Those are the top four. I'll spend $60, 240 for the year on those. Every other time, I'm sorry, the other 12 pay-per-views I will not buy. Maybe I'll go to them if they're local, but I'm definitely not buying them. So AEW is great. I'm happy that people love them and everything that's going on with them. I read about it. I just don't really watch it. It's not something that I'm really into at the moment. I think that I'll go back and probably want to watch some of them, but every Wednesday it's not a I don't watch things in real time. So it's not
Yeah.
like watching I'm not watching NXT. I didn't watch NXT last night. I didn't watch Raw this week yet. And SmackDown tomorrow night. This weekend we'll probably watch all three. And I just don't think about let's go see what happened on AEW. I know they're doing the
No.
tournament right now, but that
Yeah.
seems pretty cool. But
Yeah. Understandable. I mean, I'm pretty. I mean, I watch and I'm pretty casual with it. Like, I don't watch the whole show. Like, I'll put it on. I watch a lot of stuff on my phone, believe it or not, and I'll just put it on what I'm doing because I have my Comcast on my phone as well as my TV. But so I'll just skim it. But I mean, WWE, I'm still gonna pick them over AEW.
I will say this: I do like seeing people uh, like cat. I do like seeing people that were on like the local indie shows on AEW, so that's pretty
Oh,
cool to
Kristen
me.
Statlander,
Yes,
yeah,
that K Stat. Yeah, I like
yeah,
seeing that, but that's I would say WWE.
yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And we'll see where it goes. It's very early in that. 2013 Red Sox or the 2018 Red Sox.
Oh,
Both were champions.
no, I know that. I know that. I'm sure. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that's a tough one too. I'd say 2013.
I have to agree. Yeah.
And I mean, this is kind of in hindsight, but the 2018 Red Sox, and I know that investigations with Core and all that, I feel like the 2013 almost came out of nowhere. I know 2018 was a little bit that way, but I feel like it was done the right way. Definitely back in that day. There's obviously unwritten rules in baseball, and people do things. Um, people stealing signs, and people are doing things all the time to try to get an advantage. Obviously, it got taken to a whole new level with the Astros and with other teams. Um, everyone's doing it in some sense, I should say. But I do really like the 2013. If you picked 2004, I would have picked that one too. So
Yeah, I would too. I try to put difficult things
yeah,
together. 2013, obviously with the bombings, I was there at the game right after when Poppy was like this star, city.
yeah.
But I remember like, and I probably post this probably comes up on my Facebook memories thing. They signed Shane Victorino, and I complained about it. I was like, oh my god, he's done, and he had quite the season that was like unbelievable. So I agree. 2013 team, it was like the land of misfits that came together and won
Oh
a World
heck yeah,
Series. So Tony Gwynn as a hitter or Ichiro Suzuki?
yeah. Another you do make this tough. I would say Ichiro. He just I don't have all the stats, right? Even though
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
stats guy, I don't have them all. But just like his on base percentage, the amount of hits he got, and Tony Gwynn may have more career hits than him. I could have this wrong, but I just always remember watching him. He was like a machine. It's mechanical. He's just getting on. He's like one of the best hitters I've ever watched. I'm not gonna say it's the best swing, right? That's for someone different. But I would take Ichiro.
Yeah, I love them both. Those are two of my favorite hitters ever. Like I could just watch highlights of them just hit. And I love home runs too. Like Mark McGuire's probably, besides
Yep.
David Ortiz, Mark McGuire is probably one of my favorite players. But I just love all facets of different things. But I don't need home runs. I love hitting. I love seeing a good average. Um, Paul Pierce or Larry Bird?
Uh, I'm gonna go Larry Bird. Again, being a little bit older, I've seen them both play. Um, actually, was in the 2008 Finals Game One where Pierce had gone out back and magically came back, on a wheelchair, and he came
Yeah, I
out and
remember that. Yeah.
it was awesome. I was on TV. I had a green and white Celtics fro wig on. I was actually at the game by myself. I had a buddy that had tickets, and he moved away, and he had one ticket he shared with
Oh,
someone else. And I was like, I'll go by myself. Like that's how
I
crazy
would do that. Yeah.
So I went and went right on the aisle, and the camera's in my face. Got so many texts at that point. So Paul Pierce means a real lot to me, but Larry Bird, just I think one of the best 3-point shooters. Very clutch, not selfish. I'm not saying Pierce was, but I went to the game where he did a double clutch three. I want to say it was against the Trailblazers. This is long time ago. But I was born in '77, so to be able to watch like Larry Bird and all those teams and how great they were, remembering 1986, and
Oh yeah.
it's so I'd have to say Larry Bird, a guy from French Lick that could definitely ball.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was still young when Larry Bird retired, but I respect everything Larry Bird did and like watching the highlights. But I followed Paul Pierce's whole career. So like for me personally, I watched everything with Paul Pierce. I watched him not leave that team when they were terrible. Oh
Right?
seven, he should have just walked. And then
Yep.
Danny Ainge pulled some magic and they won a championship. But all right, last question. And this one, I always try to make the toughest question of blank
Oh,
versus
good.
blank. Um, you go to both of these companies quite a bit. Chaotic Wrestling or APW?
Chaotic.
Yeah,
Um,
I've
it
never been to
it
APW, so I can't
it.
say. But
So I'll tell you this: that is a tough one. And I know I answered chaotic really quickly. I have to choose chaotic. Chaotic. Um, it's just a little bit different. First of all, I'm sure you've been to some shows. I mean, some chaotic shows when the ring is lower. So like at the Lawrence
yeah,
Elks, they make it lower.
I've noticed that. Yeah,
I understand they need to due to the sailing. Well, it's the same thing pretty much for APW when they're in Newburyport. They have a low sailing. So I don't love that because there's less high flying. The wrestlers have to be careful. I don't really love the lower ring, but I do love both companies. But Chaotix, their production value is a little bit bigger.
yeah,
So that's what I'll say about that. You definitely have to check out APW, but Chaotic is it's the one that really got me hooked. It's the one that we see the most. Um, and I have to give a plug to Robo the Punjabi Lion. He's the reason that not that I got into indie wrestling with my boys, but we went to New England All Star Wrestling. It was like June of a couple of years ago, and him and Robo and Nico fought each other, and then he was just such a nice guy. And after the show, we just went over to him and, can we take a picture? All that stuff. And then I said, can the boys go in the ring? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And the boys got in the ring, and they weren't doing anything crazy. But then other boys got in the ring, and then the owner kind of lost his mind. But I said, Robo, you're great. You're a great guy. And he's like, oh, if you like me, come see me at this place and this place. So the next show was a Chaotic show, and that was the first time I ever went to Chaotic.
What
And then
was your first Chaotic show? What was the main?
mm,
Do you remember the main event at all?
I don't remember the main event, but it was in Lowell. It was in Lowell. I'll have to look it up. I can look
Yeah,
it
yeah.
up and let you know. I wish I had but it was definitely an experience. We went there, and I was just like, wow, this is different. I remember meeting Josh Briggs. Actually, Flip Gordon was there. It was Flip Gordon's last match. I think was our
Oh,
first.
yeah, Summer Chaos 2018.
Maybe that's what it was. But
Yeah.
I remember him. I remember seeing him, and I'm like, and I didn't know who he was. I'm like, who's this guy? And I just remember the song coming in, and I was just like, wow. We were just, again, I like high flyers. I like seeing them do those moves. Um,
Yep.
and that's really why Chaotic, and Chaotic's just been really good to us. Also, when it was William's birthday, which was Summer Chaos of last year, his birthday party, we brought like 10 of his friends, and like he got to do just so many things. Got to stand in the ring after the show. Just like we were at the end when Killanova had won. We're in the video like right there. It's got just being part of the culture, dressing the
Yeah.
part, having and then not only that, but the Chaotic faithful and the fans and how they treat people. Happy birthday that they chanted for him, like brings tears to my heart. Melts my heart how they're just great people. The happy birthday chant, and it was pretty magical to me. So Chaotic is definitely my favorite indie promotion. I do hope to see some others that I haven't been to, but that's number one in my book.
Yeah, I'm with you too. That's what kind of got me hooked, and that's how I ended up going to any other. Well, actually, I went to MWF first, but once I went to Chaotic, that I've been going pretty consistent since then. But I found like Limitless, I was willing to drive up there. But no, it's all good stuff and very enjoyable. Jared, I appreciate you coming on. I know these are tough times. Hopefully, we can have you back again when I can at least go in the studio. Who knows when that is?
Yep.
But I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thanks for the time. I was happy to be on, and hopefully we're entertaining for people. Sorry, I like to talk, so sorry if it went longer than you would.
No,
We're
no.
not in the studio, so I guess
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
some free
No.
liberty here. Right?
We have free liberty. Otherwise, I'd have producer Justin yelling at me to end it. But you can't do that right now. But until then, everybody stay safe. I know these are tough times, but continue to let freedom ring.